Okay, here I have Victrola VIII, 116,355, 1919. As you can see, it's in quarter sawn oak. And now, when I received this machine a few days ago, I thought it was actually fumed oak, but in fact it is golden oak. Just has an age-darkened shellac patina on it, and it was covered with about 15 layers of grunge, which I removed very carefully through most of the morning. As you can see, the Victor VIII, very similar to the Victor IX, is a covered machine. It is the smallest of the covered machines that Victrola offered in any of the years that they were making these, which I believe was 1911 to 1924, I believe this one was. Anyway, it has a 2-spring motor, slightly smaller than the one used in the Victor IX. It has a 10-inch turntable, not the 12-inch or 11-inch that you would get with the Victor IX. And you can see it's very nicely preserved. We had a few loose joints we had to glue up. And this one came to me with a Victrola No. 2 reproducer, which it might have had from new, but I suspect it was probably a dealer upgrade, because this does not have the fat tone arm that would normally be associated with a No. 2 on there. But the No. 2 was available when this was new. It was brand new itself. Let's open the sound doors there. You can see this has a fully isolated horn, which means that the motor does not protrude down into the horn cavity, as it did on some earlier models. That would have been about 1914 was the last year I did it on this one. And we have a record on there to play. The little things I still have to do to it, I have to put the felt bumpers here. I have them inside, I just have to glue them on there. And it's missing the knob over here, which I do have a spare, I just have to find it. Minor things. Everything is adjusted nice and working properly. And let's see, what did I put on here? I have Mohammed on here by Prince's Dance Orchestra. Take a look. Columbia label. And she's all set to go. Just release the brake. Now what I'm going to do with this is close the lid. The purpose of that is to cut down on surface noise of the record interfering with the sound quality. And there you go. You see the reproducer's completely rebuilt on this one. You have to do that. Otherwise your records will sound like crap and you'll be doing damage to them too, as those petrified gaskets create air leaks in the reproducer and refuse to allow the needle the freedom of movement it needs to track in the record's grooves. And of course, always dispose of the needle after each play and use a new one for each new play. To preserve your records, needles are not expensive, records are irreplaceable. Let's see the data plate. There we go. 101,16355, Victrola VIII. You can always tell the eighths from the ninths, even if you're looking at pictures. Just look at the needle cup there. If it's in a row like this, that's the ninth. If it's kind of catty-corner like that, that's the eighth. Sometimes it's hard to tell from blurry eBay shots and such what you're looking at if you don't see the tag, because they do look so similar. Although the Victrola VIII did keep this particular design, the Victrola IX in 1916 got feet down here. This stayed flat bottom. It does have little rubber bumpers under there to stop it from marring up furniture or whatnot. They're brand new. I had to replace them, of course. They all have the sound doors. You know, that's a Victor patent right there. But it's easy enough to tell them. But sometimes if you're looking at, say, a 1914 Victor the Ninth and any year Victor the Eighth, they could be a little confusing in the pictures. Just look for the little clues. The small 10-inch turntable, the catty-cornered little needle cups there. And by the way, that tin brass-plated, nickel-plated brass cup there is for your spent needles. This cup right here would be for your low tone, and this one your high tone, or loud tone if you prefer. As you can see, it has the thinner tone arm, typical of the older machines. Everything is nicely done. Now, you can only get these in oak. There have been rumors for years of some mahogany ones were made sometime in the 20s, but never been proven to my knowledge, and no one's ever produced one of these mahogany machines. Every single one I've ever seen, and I own now 3 of them myself, every single one I've seen has been oak. I believe there is a fumed oak version out there. That's common enough in Victrolas, but not this one. This is just dark from age. If you look in here, you notice how light that is. That's the normal color of the Victor VIII with the quarter-sawn oak. But fumed oak would look more like almost a dark mahogany color. And you can see we have really nice condition wood on this one. I was surprised, because often you can find them kind of beat up, and this is a veneered machine. So sometimes you could have veneer issues, and that was definitely not the case here. The only veneer issue I found was a little bit of a loose strip right there at the top of the doors, which I re-glued. And a join that had come loose in the back there. You can still see some of the glue traces I haven't removed yet. And it was just a panel, so it was only a matter of scraping off the old glue, applying new glue, clamping it, sticking it back in there, and good as new. Nothing was damaged or actually broken. And it's just such nice machines. I like the 8th just for the way it looks. The beautiful job they did with the wood on these. It wasn't Victor's most expensive machine by far in 1919, and it was the smallest, like I said, the smallest of the lidded machines. So you had the Victor Victrola IV and the Victor Victrola VI below this on the Victor price scale. Now, this basically is a Victor Victrola VI with a lidded case. It has the same motor, tone arm is the same size. All of that's the same size horn, or maybe slightly larger horn, but this is the 6 with a lid on it. And once you get into the Victor the Ninth, you're going into considerably larger sizes, heavier machine. It's more in common with the Victor Victrola 80 and those smaller floor models. But if you ever have an opportunity to get one of these, the Victor VIII is definitely a good choice. It has a nice sound, as you just heard. It's very easy to work on. This machine actually came to me